Hi guys, this is Keith, and I am doing kind of an initial inspection, just a first look at a Silvertone 7036. As you can tell, it has AM and shortwave, and it has push buttons. Not too bad. I did a little bit of cleanup, and I've been marking tubes, that kind of thing. And you know, there's a lot of guys out there on the internet that do videos, and they do a whole lot better videos than I do, but this one looks kind of interesting. Anyway, 7036 Silvertone. The schematic actually says August 1st, 1941. So it could well be that this is I'm just kind of giving you an idea, and I haven't cleaned anything up yet. It does have push buttons, and it's got settings for the push buttons. Interesting thing about this one, one of these tubes, sorry about this bouncing around a little bit. So this tube, that's supposed to be a 7H7. This is a 7A7, which can be substituted, but when I checked it on the Jackson Mutual Conductance tube tester, tests way high, like up in the questionable range. So I'm thinking, might be bad. Here, let me give you a shot at underneath. I've been looking. It's going to bounce a little bit. Not that, but okay. Not too bad. It's not awful. Obviously the line cord's broken. I think you can probably see that from right there. So I'm going to have to do some new line cord construction. And it's been worked on. I mean, it's obvious that's been sealed in here, and I think one right there. It's still a little bit pliable. There's a little in there. I'm not pushing hard. I don't want to break anything, but a little bit. These are the electrolytics, and there is no power applied to this set. It's not plugged in. There's two 16s and a 20, and just was really interesting because I love testing things with the old original kind of equipment. So let's see if I can get this hooked up real quick. Sorry, I'm bouncing you around. Don't mean to. There we go. Okay, so that's one of the electrolytics. Now I've already done this actually. So let's go up to the solar, just for fun. Alright, so remember 16, 20, and 20. I don't know if you can see this. So it reads slightly open about right there. Here, let me turn this off and see if you can see it a little better. Got some glare coming in. Anyway, it's slightly open. Okay, that's what the power factor knob is for. If we crank the power factor up, we get full opening right there. So about 25%, which is pretty high on an electrolytic for you guys that know about these things. So we'll take it back down. Cool thing about solar is that you can check leakage. Oh, oh my. Okay, and these are 400s too, by the way. So we got leakage on setting 1. Setting 1's about 50 volts. Oh, solid. And that's right at about 90. So I mean, it's leaking like a sieve, so obviously it's bad. I have checked, honestly, all of them, and they are all doing the exact same thing on the solar. We're getting a big increase on the power factor, and it's not looking too good for those capacitors. They're all going to have to go. Now, I would think, the reason I think someone's been in this before, this seems to me to be a newer 50s-ish. Now, these are probably original, and, you know, I would go with those being original. I'm not even sure these are original. They look like they're newer to me than 1941. I would say all of these older ones, the wax caps, are probably original, but it looks like they've put in a couple. And they've been in, but it hasn't been recently. This would be, you know, 50 years ago at best, maybe 45, but it would be a long time ago. Anyway, it's going to be an interesting project. I'm looking forward to working on it. As suggested, you know, by All-American and Joe R. Nunn, John, and Dennis Carter, and Art. You know, you start out first by checking, obviously, the coils, making sure, and the transformer, making sure that everything's good. In the initial checkout, so far, everything is tested very good. So I'm not too worried about that. I think we're okay. I think we're good to go. But I'm going to start replacing capacitor, resistors. There's some pretty old. Here, let me get in here so you can kind of see. Interesting. Let's go down here. The way that they wired some of these in. And you can see there's some leakage. I mean, there's some very obvious leakage. And older resistors, be fun to check them and see where they're at. Just be fun to check everything and kind of look at it. I'll let you know how these wax caps come out. Should be an interesting experience testing those. Interesting antenna. And I'm sure you guys that work on old radios, antique radios, you've seen this particular setup before. Let me show you it's not a bad cabinet. Not too shabby. Some, you know, scratch marks and obviously fading, that kind of stuff, but nothing awful. Discoloration on this. I don't know if you can wash this out. This is loose. Gonna have to put that back in there. The rest of these are quite good. Some, you know, discoloration where the knobs have been used. Some scratches. Nothing horrible. I'll go around over here. There are some scratches on this side. I think you can see. Yeah, it's focusing. Not awful, but some interesting things. Be kind of fun. Inside wise, not bad. Got that original, talks about the radio net, which is the antenna. And on the bottom, here, let me see if I can get a good shot of this. See if it'll focus. It actually has the schematic, and it's not a bad schematic. There's a couple of little clips out of it. Right there is one, but you know, not bad. What I like on the Sears one is it actually gives you a parts list. You can read the parts list. So there's the Silvertone model 7036, so you can kind of see it. Anyway, should be an interesting rebuild. There it is over there on the bench. And I'm kind of looking forward to getting into it and getting rocking on it. There's a plastic, get that over there, pick that back up. Here's the, put this discolored. That is obviously the plastic that goes there inside the radio. If you've got any good ideas on this, I'm going to have to clean it up. The yellowing, I don't know if the yellowing will come out. I don't know if there's anything that'll take that out. But anyway, that's basically kind of an initial look at the radio. And, you know, these are all dirty and everything's going to have to be cleaned. The pots are dirty. So you get the idea. I've got a 7H7 tube coming to replace that 7A7. And it is a legit substitution, but I don't know, the characteristics are different. And I'm not sure this tube is a good tube, is reading. You know, on a Jackson tuner, there's a question mark. It was even above the question mark. So it's questionable at best. So we'll see what it's like. Well, this is just video 1. Kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. And when I get back, you'll get to see capacitors changed out. And having been working on these radios now for a couple of years, I have learned the hard way. Yes, snip them out one at a time. Make sure you know where it goes. And All American 5, I took very detailed pictures of the entire chassis, front, back, sides, everything, so that I know where to put it if I get mixed up. And good advice. Dennis, I've taken your advice on testing, especially in making sure that everything is okay for, you know, that the coils are good and the transformer's good and the secondaries are good. And so far, everything looks fine. So, that's an initial look at the Silvertone 7036. Glad you guys could join me, and I'll kind of get back to you as we go along. And this is Keith, and thanks for watching. Bye now.